These are socks. This is a tattoo shop. This is Dave. Dave didn't want a tattoo. This is Dave getting a tattoo. Why is Dave getting a tattoo? 4 years ago, Dave worked for a media company. I worked there too. We became friends. We worked out together. We had lunch together. We talked about starting a business together, but it was just talk. Then one day, Dave saw a quote on Facebook that said socks are the #1 most requested clothing item in homeless shelters. Dave said to himself, why is that? Well, it turns out you can't donate used socks, for obvious reasons. And if you sleep on the street, you probably don't take your shoes off at night because you're afraid they're gonna get stolen. You might not own a car, you might not own a bike, so you're probably walking everywhere too. Your socks get worn out, and you don't have as many chances to wash your clothes. All that adds up to major foot issues. This is the world we live in, but we believe it doesn't have to be. We can do something about it. So we did. We quit our jobs and started a sock company. We named it Bombas after the Latin word for bumblebee. Bees live in a hive, they work together. They're small, but their combined actions have a big impact, which is why we made our mantra, be better. This is what we do. 1 pair purchased equals 1 pair donated. To donate a lot of socks, we knew we needed to sell a lot of socks. And to sell a lot of socks, we needed to make the best socks in the history of feet. We started with this, tore it apart and changed everything we didn't like. Socks shouldn't have an annoying seam, fixed. Socks shouldn't fall down, fixed. Socks should provide support where you need it most, fixed. It took 2 years to make our dream sock. We thought we had something special, but we didn't know if anyone else would think so, which is why Dave said, if we donate 1 million pairs of socks, I'll get a tattoo to celebrate. I said, I'll hold the camera. He said, deal, and we went about our business. But then something happened. People loved our socks. Here and here, 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 here. They bought a lot, and we donated a lot. Our supporters became evangelists, not that kind, that kind. And instead of taking 10 years to donate 1 million pairs of socks, it took 2.5 years. 1 million pairs. 1 million in 2.5 years. That's over 1,000 pairs a day. It was hard to believe. It's surreal. So Dave got that tattoo, which means he can show it off at dinner parties and say things like, I'm so smart and successful. Just kidding, he's not gonna do that. Because the reason someone who didn't want a tattoo got one isn't because of how we ran this business, it's because of you, what you've done. You made 1 million acts of human kindness happen. You cared about something small but important. You, the Hive, came together to make our world a better place. We can't thank you enough for that, and we'll never forget it.
I know, it's literally on my arm forever.
Would you like to sit or stand?
Sit's fine.
All right.
Whatever you prefer, actually.
We're going to come on this side. Can we just have one more round of applause for that? Yeah. It's a pretty amazing thing. So I know we've got some questions we're going to get to, Drew, but before we do, well, first of all, this is Drew. Say hi, Drew.
Hello.
One of the questions I'm sure everyone in the room has, because it was a question I had, was what's the difference between a pair of socks that I buy and a pair of socks that we donate?
Sure, that's a good question, and it comes up a lot. So the socks that we donate are, people ask if they're better or they're worse or they're the same. The answer is that they're different. They're purpose-built for the community that we serve, and so what that means is they have reinforced seams. They are treated with an antimicrobial spray. They're always black, so they show less visible wear and tear. So they're like I said, they're purpose-built, so they're different and they're specific.
That's pretty amazing. And all right, so your title includes customer happiness.
Yes.
And I would presume that customer happiness means not just the people who are buying your socks, but the people who also receive your socks.
Sure.
What else does that title mean to you?
Sure. So customer happiness is a few things. For us, it is the name of our customer experience team. We're called the Customer Happiness Team. But it's also our promise to our customers and really anyone who interacts with our brand, as you just mentioned. So what that means is anyone who's, if you're interacting with our site, if you're interacting with our product, if you are receiving a pair of socks from us at one of our giving events, we want to make sure that no matter what the issue is, even if it's not an issue, even if it's a question or a suggestion, that people are heard. So the idea is, and how we're training people specifically on CX is, yes, you're supposed to answer the ticket and you're supposed to give someone the correct answer and give them tracking and whatever the mechanics of e-commerce, I guess, in that respect are. But the principle that we kind of employ is we try to use that interaction as an opportunity to bring somebody closer to our brand. And so what that means is, we'll stay on the phone for 15 minutes, 20 minutes if we can, if they'll let us. We'll take the extra step because we know that it's going to be worth it in the end. And so customer happiness for our team specifically, there's two functions. One of the functions is kind of like a maitre d'. So think about the maitre d' at the best restaurant in town, maybe 11 Madison Park or whatever it is. The idea isn't just to get someone in a seat. The idea is to anticipate someone's needs.
Right.
It's to make them feel welcome. It's to make them feel at home. And so we are empowered from the top down, CEO on down, to do just that. And so we take, like I mentioned, the extra time to make sure that we're doing the right thing by our customers or the communities we serve.
Would you say then that empowerment is one of those cornerstones for Bombas?
Yeah, sure. So empowerment definitely is. And so what that also means specifically for our customers is the other side of that. Like I mentioned, there was two. The other side is being an advocate on behalf of the customers. And so in a way that empowers them. So every week we have a management meeting where a few of us sit around and discuss what happened the week before and lay out what we're going to do the week ahead. And the way I see my role there is kind of a conduit for the voice of our customer and to be able to advocate on their behalf. I think it's a powerful thing that they're heard. And so they're definitely empowered. I guess another form of empowerment is, as you guys all just saw in our video, our mission is one of the most important things in the world to us. And so customers really connect with that. It's an easy thing. I mean, when I first started or when I first heard about Bombas, that was the most incredible thing in the world. We're making this really great pair of socks, but we're also donating this amazing pair of socks. And so people reach out about that. And so, for example, sometimes if someone's going to exchange for a different color or a different size, we'll often have them not send them back, but keep them and find a local organization in their community that accepts clothing donations. And we empower people that way.
And that seems to actually be a growing trend. I know that there's several companies where if you purchase something, they don't want it back any longer. They want you to donate. They want you to get it back into the community in some way. So it's almost like you feel good about your return versus having that angst of now I have to take it to the post office. And I don't quite know now I've used two things versus one.
Right.
So that's a pretty phenomenal idea. So that's a lot of customer empowerment, knowing that I have freedom to purchase what I want, and I know you're going to take care of me. How does that translate back into employee happiness, though? Because if I'm an employee who's now fully empowered to make all of these decisions on behalf of a customer, that radically changes how I view my job as an agent, an advocate, an analyst.
It does, and so, in traditional companies, the people that really take ownership are maybe, the C-level team or the salespeople when there's commissions to be had. But because we have this other principle that drives us, every single person takes real ownership of the company. And we're still a small company, and so what that means is people are hired and they come in and they're expected to help shape the company. Whatever their role is, that's what they're supposed to be doing, but they're supposed to be thinking more, and they do. And ideas are listened to, and we don't really have silos management-wise, so it's a really great place to work.
All right, so now let's talk a moment about Shark Tank.
Sure.
What year were you all on?
So we were on for the season premiere in 2014.
Okay. And and you were there.
I was in our office. I wasn't on Shark Tank.
you worked for Bombas.
Sure, yeah, I was there, yeah. Shark Tank is the reason that I'm sitting here for sure. So when we were fortunate enough to be featured on an episode of Shark Tank, we were very small. As you saw, maybe seen in the video, we started with an Indiegogo raise. That was our first thing that we did. And at that time, we were getting maybe 100 tickets a week. So our CEO and co-founder, Dave Heath, was doing all of the customer happiness.
Now, is he the one who got the tattoo?
He is, yes, he is the tattooee.
Okay.
And so I was actually working in politics at the time. I'm a political consultant by trade, and but I was looking for something else. I'd be a terrible defense attorney. Some of the people I couldn't stand behind. So I was looking for something else, and Dave approached me with this opportunity. It was a 2-week project to come in, train a whole bunch of people, teach them how to use our systems, including Zendesk, and thank you for making it very easy, by the way, and teach them to use our voice for Shark Tank. And the reaction was incredible. Not only did Shark Tank drive sales, it drove interest in our business, but it was an incredible platform to talk about our mission. And we've seen that grow with our company, and honestly, we owe a lot to where we are as a company as well to Shark Tank. They've been incredibly good to us. ABC and Shark Tank specifically, they re-aired our episode. They've filmed a follow-up show with us called Beyond the Tank, which was really great. So we have nothing but positive things to say, and it was really, really incredible.
So they've helped your sales, and likewise then, they've helped the ability for you to get to that 1 million donation in 2 years.
That's right, in 2 years. So we did start in the fall of 2013, and so just a quick update to that, we're now approaching our 5 millionth pair donated. We're really proud about that.
That's pretty amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I would presume that Damon John gives a lot of great entrepreneurial advice. What's the one piece that he gave Bombas that you would impart out to the rest of the audience?
So he does, and people ask us all the time, what is it really like to, be on the show and then to work with the Sharks and Damon specifically because he is luckily our Shark, luckily for us. And the truth is, he's been incredibly generous with his time. Him and his team give us a tremendous amount of access. While we do benefit from the fact that we're also based in New York City, you kind of get the sense that even if we were in Chicago, they'd be just as open and just as welcoming and just as willing to help shape us and help give us great inspiration and ideas. And so I think that one of the things that Damon always hammers home is focus. His focus is legendary, as some of you may know who watch the show. And so early on, he did coach us to focus on what we do best. And so early on, it was 3 things. We took 2 years in research and development to come up with what we think are the best pair of socks on the market.
So you didn't even have the socks in development yet?
We had them before Indiegogo, so 2 years before 2013. So it was to make a great pair of socks.
Which you did.
Thank you. It's to donate a pair of socks for every pair that we sell. And the third one was to provide an excellent customer experience. And so focusing on those 3 things rather than being scattered or letting other people who reached out drive us in directions that we didn't know best, I would say that probably is it. And so we're grateful for his partnership, and we're grateful to be associated with him.
Well, and we're grateful you're here. I am actually wearing a pair today, and
great. So speaking of that, we actually we brought a pair of socks for all of you. So on your way out today, I believe they have them outside. So please make sure to pick up a pair, and please let us know what you think. We really would love to hear from you.
Well, thank you so much, Drew. This was such a pleasure. Another round of applause for Drew and for Bombas.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This was really great.
Great.